Maybe I'll try this one.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to season 2 of the Unangry Black Woman podcast, where we have real conversations on real topics with real people. I am your host, your healing coach, Tiffany Fox. Y'all, we made it to season 2. I am super duper excited. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad you are here. The Unangry Black Woman podcast, it's a platform where we speak truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. We highlight perspectives that, make up our community and our culture. We provide a safe space where we can have conversations that we normally can't have, if you know what I mean. Well, without further ado, our guest today is Miss Paige Nichole. Hey, girl. Hey. I'm so excited. So Paige is the owner of Stripped Waxx Bar here in Greensboro. She is born and raised in Greensboro. She has 2 princesses. They are so cute. And she's been an esthetician for 9 years?
Yes.
And then how long have you been in business for yourself?
I've been going on 3 years and on April 1st.
Okay, yes. Let's go. And so from personal experience, she's my Esty, y'all. So she is the truth. She's one of 2. I have one that does my facials and then one that does my waxing, and she does my waxing. And so for me, it's the customer service. So I'm a customer service girl. Wow me, make me feel like I'm VIP, and she does just that. And so now we go together.
Yes. Real bad.
real bad. And so today I wanted to talk to you about your business. What it is to be a business owner, be an esthetician. And then I wanted to lean into the bikini waxing, the stigmas on that, the benefits on that, and really have that conversation about, how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. Yes. You ready? Yes. Okay. So this is a conversation that we typically don't have in our community.
Right, no.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to call this one, I'm going to title this podcast Pretty Kitties.
I love it.
Is that
yes.
okay? Okay,
yes,
Pretty Kitties.
Yes.
Okay.
That is perfect. Yes.
So if you're not interested, log off now. No, I'm just playing. Tune in. Let's have a different conversation today. Just like I said, we have conversations that we normally don't have conversations or talk about. So what's an esthetician?
So an esthetician is, skincare junkie, I say, usually. But someone who does your facials, your makeup, your waxing, your vajacials, all that stuff.
Okay.
Focusing on skincare.
Okay. What made you want to become an esthetician?
So when I was a little girl, I used to always thought I wanted to do hair.
Okay.
Then as I grew up, I was like, I don't like doing other people's hair. I like to do mine. But then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. So I fell in love with the cleanser, the exfoliators, the mask and everything, as I got older. Then I loved makeup. I was one of those, I beat my face every day, even if I was sitting in the house.
Okay.
So I went to A&T for 2 years and didn't know what I was going to do. My mom was like, all right, you wasting my time and my money. So figure it out. And then she was like, you love to do makeup and stuff. Go and be an esthetician, which I never knew estheticians actually exist. I always thought it was just hairstylists.
Okay.
Went there, realized I did not like doing facials, but fell in love with makeup. Realized I did not like doing makeup, fell in love with waxing.
Okay.
So it just kind of fell in my lap.
Okay.
And then there I was.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So in your current business, who's your target audience, or who do you serve?
I serve from the college girls to the middle-aged women to the hard-working women and even the older women.
Okay.
I feel like whoever just wants to get waxed, I'm there for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find it any particular culture gets waxed more, use your services more, or
So I
diverse?
will say that I feel like, years ago it was really, the Caucasian women who really, they stuck to their waxing. But now I definitely am noticing in the Black culture, it is growing. That is something that more and more of us are doing it and sticking to it and making it a routine every month. So it's definitely growing with us.
Okay. Tell us what things do you wax?
I do a full body waxing, from your full face to your brows to your underarms to your legs and to your bikini Brazilian area.
Okay.
So yes, and that is my favorite service to do, Brazilians.
Brazilians?
Yes, and that's my number one service.
Okay, so we're
Yes.
going to get into
Yes.
that. Do you have men that come or?
I have a couple men. I probably have about 3 men, and they get their back, their chest waxed.
Okay.
And one gets his full arm. So, yeah.
Okay. I love it. Okay. I wasn't sure if a lot of men were into waxing.
They're getting into it now.
Okay.
Yes, they are. So, I think that's good, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about the Brazilian wax.
So, my favorite service. The Brazilian wax, it literally covers from your bikini line to the top part to your labia lips and down to your butt strip.
Okay.
Everything. You can leave as much hair as you want, as little hair, or take it off. All off if you want.
Okay. Yes. And you said that's your most popular or that's your favorite?
That's my favorite service and my most popular service.
Why is it your favorite?
You know, over the years, I have learned that if you can actually have a woman come in at their most vulnerable time with another woman and, butterfly and wax them and actually, let them see see the most private part of them, probably sometimes the most insecure on a woman. If you can get them in there, make them feel comfortable, make them open up to you, and have them just be like, all right, like lay out everything to you at the most vulnerable time, I think that is like a very beautiful thing. And that's why I've grown to love it. It's just making women feel comfortable, more comfortable, and just helping them feel better and helping with that insecurity.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I love it because that's exactly what you did and that's your experience. That's my experience anyway. And so I'm like, we really having a conversation, but like, it's really engaging. It's not, it's not surface. It's like, we're talking and I'm like, oh, I'm finished. Okay. And I love that.
Yep.
I love that because that's where you make people feel comfortable. People feel comfortable. Because it's it's an experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so just a little bit of backstory. So I was extremely nervous to go because 10 years ago, I had a horrible experience. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this ever again. I'm talking about like I was ripped and skinned and it was horrible. And so I was like, oh, I'm never coming back. And then I meet Paige and she's like, oh, come on, they didn't know what they were doing. And I'm like, I don't know. And so I'm like, well, let me book this appointment right now because I'm a no-show, But you make me feel comfortable. And like I said, we go together real bad. And so.
Yes. We stuck together. That's what I tell all my people. We stuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and I don't miss an appointment. So what would you tell someone who is coming in, or what advice would you give for their first Brazilian?
As far as like skincare or
what they need to do to come in or before.
So I tell all my first time people, that reach out who seem nervous or ask what to do. I always say exfoliate the night before. Right before you come, take a nice warm shower because the warm water will kind of open up your pores and help that hair come out a little bit better and not be as uncomfortable for you. You can take some Tylenol, Advil about 30, 45 minutes before you come. I say always wear loose clothing just because if it is your first time, you might just be a little tender. It's not that bad, but just something so you're free. You don't feel that friction. Okay. That's usually what I tell my people. It's pretty easy and simple, not as much as what people think.
Do you think the field is oversaturated?
I think it's getting there.
Okay. Why is that?
I think that now, everyone is jumping on this wave of being their own entrepreneur, and that is completely okay. But they're not telling the sweat, the hard work, the tears that goes into it. They tell, you're going to make this, you're going to make that, you could do this, But that's not, it's the case, yes, but it takes way more than what they're saying. It's not a get-rich scheme overnight thing. So I think that, most people, they don't really know. It's just like, oh, be an entrepreneur. Esthetician is the easiest way because you don't have to have as many hours.
Okay.
They think it's kind of like, I feel as if some of them may think you don't really, it's easy. And it's not, because you don't see people running to go be a cosmetologist.
Right. Absolutely.
They're all running to be estheticians. So I think that that's just what it is. It's just, it seems easy and it's really not, esthetician is just like a cosmetologist. It's just like, I say tattoo artists, singers. Either you have that skill or you're not, because even with facials, it's a chemistry. You can't play on someone's face. You have to figure out, okay, this is what you got to do, what products, their routine, everything. So it's all about a chemistry. Waxing, it is a skill. You have to know how to put that pressure down right after, move fast. And some people are more heavy-handed than others. Some people more soft-handed, making sure they don't get ingrowns. You don't break their hair. It's not as easy as what people think. And then lashes, it's so much on your body. The constant bending over. A lot of lash techs have neck and back problems. And then after a while, they can't do it after 5 to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Because it's so much. Okay. So it's not as easy as what they think. So I definitely think it is oversaturated. Not saying that, there's so much money in the beauty industry. It's $1 billion industry. It's going to continue to grow. But you've got to sell yourself.
That's right.
10 times harder than what it was when I became an esthetician and shortly after, because everyone's doing it.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. Oh, we have questions from production.
Because everything is so oversaturated, and it was funny because we were talking about fields being oversaturated. Do you feel like because you actually are a professional, unlike a lot of people, like you said, that just jump in it and don't know what they're doing, do you feel like that is a key to retention?
Yes, it is.
And would you say that with that, because it's saturated, but like we follow fads in our culture, whatever's the in thing is the in thing. Like you said, entrepreneurs is entrepreneurs. Yes. So do you feel like it's saturated now, but the cream will rise to the top and it will slowly start to settle just because of that?
Exactly. Yes. That's definitely true for sure. I think, and I think at some point it's going to come to an halt. At some point, it's just a matter of when. But also, the retention is what you really want to focus on. But also, a lot of people that are going to school to be an esthetician, they're also scarring some of these women.
That's what I was going to ask.
It's harder to sometimes get some of these girls in here or get them to trust you because they've had such a traumatic experience from people who, from people who, they didn't get the right education with it as far as taking a certain course. People are finishing school in 6 months to a year. They're doing courses already. That's just not feasible.
Okay.
You can't learn a skill like this in 6 months to a year. You really can't. When I was at the biggest waxing chain, it took me 2 to 3 years to really feel comfortable and to get to a point where I look at a Brazilian and I'm not panicking of, all right, what do I do? Where do I start? How long do I let this strip sit without hurting them? Is it too tacky? Is it too hard? Is this strip gonna break? That's how hard it is. It's not as easy what people think. So yeah,
absolutely. And that's one thing I love about you. You educate.
Yes.
And so I didn't even know you were supposed to exfoliate. Yes. I was like, well, what? So we're going to talk about exfoliating, and I want to come back because you talked about you work for one of the biggest chains here. So why do we exfoliate? What do we use?
Okay, that is the kicker. So speaking of that, I had a client who came in yesterday. Fell in love with her from the moment she walked in. She was like, I have ingrowns, but I couldn't see because, she hadn't waxed in a while. So she was like, I'm switching over from my esthetician. Just, I'm looking for someone new. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, is there any specific reason as to why? Because, that plays a big deal, whether it's something with your skin, just certain things. So I know going forward, but not necessarily that was the case. But, so she was saying, I was asking, okay, do you exfoliate? What do you exfoliate with? What do you hydrate and moisturize your skin with as well on your bikini? She said, well, I was using the lady's products. And I'm like, all right, so are these products that she made or did you buy these products somewhere else? She was like, oh, she made it. So, that's another thing that we're going through. People are making products to make passive income, but the products are not doing what they need to. So that's why exfoliation, you want to make sure you're doing it 2 to 3 times a week. You want to use the right products, though. The brand that I love is Bush Balm. It's amazing. I used to use Zandyland and Fur, but once I tried Bush Balm, I was sold. I've had so many clients who have switched over to it, and immediately, like shortly after, they even text me before their next appointment, like, I love it. Yeah. Hydrating and moisturizing your skin is so important as well because dead skin and dry skin are enablers for ingrowns. So if you have that layer of dead skin sitting on top of your bikini area, that skin cannot grow out. It just curves back in, creates an ingrown. That's dry skin, same thing. It just can't grow out, can't break through the dry skin. So those why exfoliation and hydrating the skin is important. Bush Balm has an ingrown hair oil that I love. Another brand that I love is Zandyland. They have a hydrating balm, and Fur has a big ingrown oil as well. So
Okay. And those are for men and women, or they're women specific?
Fur, I believe you could use, men and women can use it. I've had some women say their husband used it and they liked it. I'm not too sure about Bush Balm. Zandyland, I'm pretty sure they could as well.
Okay. And you recommend exfoliating for men and women?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Manscaping. Waxing for men. Recommend?
So I personally don't wax men in
Okay.
that area. I mean, I would say, I guess it's just all on the man's preference.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I don't know too much
You
about
know
the
me, I gotta
manscaping.
ask.
I don't know too much about the manscaping, but I do know some women there who have told me their husbands or their boyfriends do it. They love it.
Okay.
They love it. So
Okay. All right, cool.
I guess it all just depends on the preference.
Absolutely. So let's switch over to the chain you were working for before you started. What was the culture? What made you want to have your own?
So when I first started with this huge waxing chain, most of you guys know it. I loved it. That which was what 2015. Yes, loved it. I didn't actually ever see myself being an entrepreneur, actually leaving them. The culture was all about, I would say, like, your family, just because the original owners built it off of family. They were family men. So it wasn't as just like money.
Okay.
Over the years after the owners did sell, it became more corporate. More, just, it was all about money, sell.
Yeah.
Every time your client comes in, they need to be buying a product. Not all of my clients need to be buying products right then and there. They don't need that. Every client needs to be having at least 2 services. Not every client wants 2 services.
Okay.
So it just became very corporate for me. Everything that you did, it just wasn't enough. Even though you could be bringing in the most amount of money as far as your fast waxing, bringing clients in, that wasn't enough. You need to be selling more. You need to be adding on more services. You could be doing more. So I just got to a point where I actually hated going to work, which took a toll because that affects my clients, their experience. So probably right after the pandemic, when we came back, I realized I really just was unhappy. So I started making an escape plan.
Okay.
And I went from there.
Okay.
So I was really scared to take the leap of faith, but I'm glad that I did. But, it was all worth it.
Okay. Good. What is the hardest part you think of being an entrepreneur?
All the hats we have to wear. For me, I think it's really getting on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Showing my face, showing people who I am, my personality, because I am such an introvert, and I'm so private. So I think for me, it's really just social media, staying consistent, showing people my skill, who I am, what I do on the regular. I think that's the most for me.
Yeah, I agree. I hate social media. I just hate it because you have some influencers or business owners and they got a camera in their face all the time. And I'm like, how you get work done?
Yes. That's
and I'm just like, and so I have to, is that content, do this. And so now you have to even schedule in your work week a content day, a social media day, you know what I mean? And so, like you said, if you don't have a full team behind you, and I think that's the ugly side of entrepreneurship that we don't talk about. When you are a solopreneur and you're just by yourself and you're building up your team, you have to do everything. You are HR, you are marketing, you are, the talent, you are the one doing the skill, you are the face. And so until you can build up revenue to get a team, but I do love that I'm able to see every aspect of my business. So when I hire, I know it's realistic, and you won't get me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You're not going to get, I know we can do this. So, but yeah, but no, I agree. And then the other aspect for me is, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah, that part.
So
that part.
So we might have a great week this week, and then next week, or a great month. And so you have to be able to forecast. And you know, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I made 6 figures," or "I made." That's great. That's the first one you do is wonderful, but you got to sustain it now.
Exactly, you got to sustain
it.
Yes.
And so that's the thing.
Yes,
that's the thing. And so let's talk about the benefits to waxing.
There's so many benefits to waxing. For one, your hair is going to grow in softer, finer, smoother, less of it, not as thick and coarse as it is when you shave or, God forbid, you nair. Your hair, this is going to help with hyperpigmentation, dark spots, helps with ingrowns. It does not eliminate them, though. I think that's where some people, they get a little confused because they come back in. They're like, I got ingrowns, you know. It's not a quick fix. It does not stop them. You will get them, but our goal is to minimize them as much as we can. It makes your skin smoother. It helps with the texture. It helps brighten it. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
It does, and it helps with hygiene too. Hygiene.
But that's not it, Paige. That's not it. So y'all know me. I'm transparent. So I go get waxed and I come home, and like me and my husband are trying the wax out, okay? And like sex was better.
Yes. Yes.
And so when I came back, I was like, Paige, you ain't tell me.
So, yes, that is something that is not talked about with Brazilian waxes. And I don't know if it's because, you know, sometimes us estheticians, we don't know how to come out and tell you at your first appointment, all right, so when you have sex, it's going to be 10, 20 times better. It's going to be wetter. It's going to be it's going to feel like something completely different. Yes. So, yes, I feel like that's probably like one of the best parts of it.
Yeah. and I went back and I asked my circle, you know, some get waxed, some don't, some shave. And so I was like, wait a minute. So the ones that were getting waxed, I was like, y'all ain't tell me. Y'all just gonna keep that a secret. Right. We just ain't gonna talk about that, right? And so I felt like, fortunately, we probably need to lead with that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yes. Especially, and I know we're in a different age group, but from my age, group, if we understand that will spice it up, you know?
Yes.
And do some things. You're right.
Yes.
Because I think, there's a stigma with getting waxed. I think it's generational.
Yes.
So I've been talking to a lot of ladies about, waxing and if they wax. And then I have my early 20-year-olds are like, but due to fear of pain.
Yes.
My 30-year-olds, we've been waxing since we was teenagers. What are you talking about? Yeah. And then I get to 40s, and they're like, either we just started or we've been, or it's something kind of new. And then 50 and up, and some of them, I'm just speaking of some of the women I talk to, they're like, no. Yeah. We've never, we probably trim or use razors, but, and then we go to older than that, and they like, no, 70s bush is it.
Yes. Yes.
So I was like, oh, okay. But no matter what the generation, we're not talking about it. So they're like, my aunties, my mommy didn't tell me about. And then I had to think about, did I have that conversation with my daughter? I hadn't. Yeah. And so, like, it's the best kept secret,
it is.
Or fear of, pain or being excruciating. Yes. And I come to think about it, when I got married, I hadn't had that conversation with anybody. No one was like, go do it. This is what you should do. It was just like, oh, I'm going to be straight my wedding night. Right.
Yes.
I wasn't straight my wedding night. So,
right.
So, but I think we're not having the conversations. And I think, like I said, if we know that sex is better and the hygiene, as well as, what it does for our skin, especially being melanated. Because, like you said, the hyperpigmentation and dark spots kind of take a toll on us. But so I got some myths that we looked at, and I want you to tell me. So I got myth number 1: Black women don't wax.
I think that's a myth.
Okay.
That's a myth.
Okay. Second one, Black women of a particular age prefer 70s bush.
I think that's a myth as well.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Now, with the times changing, I do think that is a myth because I am having more older women come in, and they want the bush gone.
Okay.
Even my grandma, who is 78.
Come on, Grandma.
At first, she was like, years ago, she was like, "You wax the hair off the poo-poo?" No. Even, down there with her family, they're talking about what I do. You wax the hair off the poo-poo? The hair is supposed to be on the poo-poo. But even my grandma was like, I might come one day and get mine off. Yeah. So I do think it is a myth because more and more they're learning about it. They're becoming more educated with it. And then they're just like, I want to try something new.
Absolutely. I love it. Myth number 3, waxing is bad for melanated skin.
No. That's a myth.
Okay.
That's a myth.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So for us, again, when we're talking about pretty kitties, for us, do you think, and I mean us as in Black women, do you think the preference of our men determine if we get waxed or not? And do you think we're having those conversations?
I don't think we are.
Okay.
I don't. That's a good question. I think at one point it did, but I think now more women are doing it for themselves, I think. Okay. I am seeing that more and more. Now, when I did first start, yes, it was based on the men, whether they waxed or not, whether they had a man, whether they were not single, they had something going on. But I think now more women are starting to wax just for them.
Okay. Have you had a situation where like someone has brought their partner in, like they need to be waxed, or?
When I was working at the waxing chain, yes, he called up there, made her appointment, and brought her.
Okay.
Yes.
They were having a conversation.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I actually have one where I have another client. I've been waxing her for a while now. How she actually got started waxing was because her ex-boyfriend introduced her to it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, I think probably back then, a while ago, it depend on your man. But I think now, no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always, just curious, what motivates us to do what we do. And even in relationships, like we need to have those conversations. I'm all for the tough conversations. I'm all for the real transparent. What's your preference? Yeah. Like we're grown.
Right. Yeah.
So what's your preference? What you want to try, as long as both adults are consenting and it's, not hurting anybody, right, then I'm all for it. But I think we need to have those conversations about what do we prefer, and if it's healthy. Mm-hmm. And so I just wonder, because you still have men old school where, I keep saying 70s bush. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but where they want 70s bush. And they're like, I don't want, all of that. Then you have some women that prefer manscaping.
Yes.
Yes. But I think let's just have the conversation, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I'm all about, having the conversation.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anybody with like sensitive skin? I know you have your own juice and zhuzh, so I don't want you to give the secret, but do you have any recommendations or anything about sensitive skin?
So sometimes I do think that's another stigma, sensitive skin. Sometimes your skin's not sensitive. You're not using the right products, or using the wrong products that are irritating your skin. I usually say sensitive skin usually is like eczema, psoriasis, things like that. So if you have some of those things, I won't really wax over you, because it could irritate you. There could be more of a breakout, anything like that. But if you do notice, like when you get a wax and you do seem irritated, I like to ask, what soaps are you using? Because 9 times out of 10, it's the soaps, or their aftercare routine, or they did something right after they left getting waxed. But I always try to recommend brands that I've never had anybody break out with. They're not known to irritate you or bother you. And honestly, the brands that I have recommended, Nothing's ever happened with anybody.
Okay. Can you have eczema in the bikini area?
You can.
Oh, okay.
You can. Yes. And there's what I can't think of the other name. What is the other one?
Dermatitis.
That is one. Yes. The other I can't think of it because I have a few clients who do have it. It starts with an H. I cannot think of it, but it's usually like boils.
Okay.
So that's probably the number one thing as for with us women that I think affects us a lot in the underarms and the bikini area. So typically, if you had a boil there that was irritating you or something, I usually won't wax over it.
Okay.
So things like that, just with the sensitivities.
Okay. Even with the underarms, so do you recommend that they get waxed if they have frequent? Now, I know deodorant, other stuff, hormones can cause it, but are they a candidate for waxing or?
I definitely think you are because usually the razor irritates you more.
Okay.
You're more prone to cutting yourself or cutting that boil, the irritation from the razor against that boil. So, yes, I definitely think waxing is good for the underarms if you have boils under there.
Okay. Is there any other advice or any tips or anything you want to give new estheticians, new people thinking about waxing or?
So new estheticians, just take your time. It comes with it. It comes over time. It's not gonna come overnight like people are telling you. It takes time. It took me a good 2 to 3 years to really feel confident and not be overwhelmed when I look at somebody's skin or their hair types, because that's also something you don't talk about. Certain hair types, they're harder to wax. The hairs break. They don't come out. So that's one thing. But just don't get overwhelmed. Just keep going, keep pushing, and the sky's the limit. You can do it. It's just keep pushing and keep going, especially with waxing, because it is not as easy as what it looks like. So just keep going. New people who want to wax, definitely do your research. Research. That's going to be your number one key. Because there are a lot of people who are just starting out who are, they tell you one thing and that's not really the case. They will mislead you. They really don't know what they're talking about because they haven't had the proper education and they didn't go get trained by somebody who knows what they're doing or who have been doing it for a longer period than 6 months to a year. So just do your research. Go to people who your friends go to, someone who knows the esthetician, because that's the best way, word of mouth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's how we got connected.
Yes.
How can we support you? How can we follow you? How can we become a client?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Stripped Waxx Bar, I think with 2 X's, Stripped Waxx Bar. Yes. And then I have my booking link, Paige Nichole at glossgenius.com. I'm trying to get better with TikTok.
Okay, me too.
I have said I'm going to conquer that this year, but that's a whole nother beast, that platform.
Yeah.
Learning how to post and work through that. But I definitely said I am. So, and that is Stripped Waxx Bar as well with 2 X's. Yeah, that's how you can.
Awesome. And then I love her Instagram page because she actually shows you before and after. And so that kind of helped me, like, what am I getting myself into? What it's looking like? And like it's clean. It's a PG version. But I love it because, again, for me, I got to wrap my head around it. And so if I see it like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. She even got the waxes and she's mixing the wax. So I love it. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
We've been talking about this, and so for it to come to fruition, I'm excited.
I know, me too.
I'm excited.
You got me on my element. So I love it. You brought me out.
You did great.
Yes.
Awesome. So again, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Unangry Black Woman podcast. I am your host, your healing coach, Tiffany Fox. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate us, review us on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Follow us on social media, Tiffany Fox Inc. at Instagram, Tiffany Fox Inc. at Facebook. Join us every Wednesday at noon for a new episode. Until then, healing happens in community, and be great.